Good morning, children. Welcome to today's class. Yesterday, I had finished the class by giving you a exercise question to do at home, and I assume you must have done it. And I also said that I would be doing it on the board for those of you who could not or did not find the time or found it difficult to solve. Okay, so I am going to do that question first, and then we will move on to the next topic. The question, I hope you have copied it down, because I am going to solve that on the board. The question was, calculate national income using income and expenditure method. I will quickly share a screen with you to show the question so that you have with you the question. This was the question. I'll read it out. Wages and salary in cash 600, rent 200, interest 20, consumption of fixed capital 10, employers' contribution to social security scheme 55, private final consumption expenditure 800, net export 70, royalty 25, net factor income from abroad minus 30, gross domestic capital formation capital formation 120, government final consumption expenditure 100, subsidies 10, profit 30, indirect taxes 60, change in stock 50, mixed income of self-employed 100. This was the question I had given you yesterday. Today we will solve it on the board. We have to calculate national income. Like I said, the first step is GDP at market price equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus N. Okay. Next, C. Private final consumption expenditure is given as 800 plus inventory investment. Another name is gross domestic capital formation. It is given in your question, gross domestic capital formation 120, no problem, 120 plus government final expenditure 100 plus net exports. Net exports is given directly 70. That's why I had said it's an easy question. All the values will be given directly. No problem. Add them up. 8, 9, 1020, 1090 crores. Okay. Now, what from this? What do we have to find? National income. NNP at factor cost equal to GDP at market price. Gross to net minus depreciation. Domestic to national income plus NFI. Market price to factor cost minus NIT. Substitute the values. 1090 minus depreciation is given. Depreciation given here. Consumption of fixed capital. Consumption of fixed capital is another name for depreciation. It is given as 10 plus net factor income from abroad. Here we have net factor income from abroad minus 30 minus net indirect taxes. Here we don't have net indirect taxes directly given. How do we calculate? IT, that is indirect taxes, minus subsidies. IT is given, indirect taxes is given as 16 minus subsidies is given as 10. 10 is equal to 1090 minus 10 minus 30 minus 50. 50, 30, 90 minus, you get rupees 1000 crores. This is the solution to yesterday's question given. Any problem, children? One of you unmute yourself and speak. Any problem? Good. With that, we will go on to the next topic in the chapter, real and nominal GDP. I'm wiping out this board. Can I wipe out the board? Yeah? Real and nominal GDP. Now, children, what is GDP? Gross domestic product. What is the GDP? It is the money value of all final goods and services produced in the country during the accounting year. Now, what is real and nominal GDP? How does it differ? Write down the definition of real GDP. Write down the definition of real GDP. Real GDP values the current year's output at some base year prices. It is the value measured at constant prices. Within brackets, base year price. Base year price. Brackets closed. Of all final goods and services purchased in the domestic territory of a country during 1 year. Your GDP is measured at constant prices, at a base year price. It is obtained by multiplying the goods and services produced in the current year with the prices prevailing in the base or constant year. Nominal GDP. Definition of nominal GDP. Nominal GDP values current year's output at current year prices. Monetary GDP at current prices is the money value of all final goods and services measured at current prices produced in the domestic territory of a country during 1 year. Nominal GDP does not show the real picture of economic growth because it includes the effect of inflation. What is inflation? You can write it in brackets, rise in price. Rise in prices. If GDP increases at current price, then it is not compulsory that the economy is growing because it can happen due to a rise in the price level. Now this I am going to explain with an example. This is nominal GDP. Nominal GDP. Let's suppose in the year 2018, price of the commodity was ₹10 and we were able to produce 100 quantity. So the output of the GDP for that year would be 1000, assuming. 2019, the price rises from 10 to 15. The quantity is the same. Here it is 1500. Now, what do you see in this small little example? Here the output of the GDP has increased from 1000 to 1500. But is this the real picture of a welfare for the society, a welfare for the economy? No. Why? Because this increase in the GDP is a reflection of the increase in price because of inflation. Previously the price was only 10, now the price has risen to 15. So that's what I gave you, that it does not show the real picture of the economic growth because it includes the effect of inflation. And if your GDP increases at the current price, then the economy not necessarily grows because this happens because of a rise in the price of the product. This is the nominal GDP. That's why I said it does not show the real picture of the economic growth. Otherwise, the growth of an economy is measured by its GDP, right? The gross domestic product. All the money value of goods and services produced in a year. Small example, I mean, you understand how when price increases because of inflation, GDP may increase. There is no increase in the output quantity. It is still producing 100 units only. And how will GDP increase? Because of the rise in price. Now an example of real GDP. Real GDP. Year, price, quantity, output, or GDP. Let's assume in the year 2016 the price was 9, quantity produced was 100, 900. 2017 price is taken at a base year 9. 2016 is the base year, and now we produce 150 units. That will give you 1350. 2018, let's say, we did on the base year 9, we are able to produce 200. Now look at this. Your real GDP is calculated on some base year. Here we assume that our base year is 2016. What was the price at our base year? 9. So now when we calculate our GDP, we are calculating it at a base year. In the year 2016, the output, the quantity produced was 100 units, and so the GDP was 900, 109. 2017, we are following the real GDP. Price of the base year was 9. Quantity is able to increase to 115. Here the GDP also increases on the output also increases 115 to 9, 1350. Similarly, 2018, keeping the base year, quantity if it increases to 200, the GDP increases. So what do we see? Over here we see here the GDP increases only when the quantity or the output of goods and services rise. It is a reliable index of economic growth and economic welfare. That is, more GDP at constant prices implies more growth. There is more growth in this economy. And we are measuring at constant prices. What is the constant price? Base year price. Now in this case we see in nominal we are obtaining it by multiplying it with the current year price. Every year the price increases. How much is our quantity produced? We are getting a GDP. Now this is not the real reflection of the GDP, not the real reflection of the growth in the economy. It is growing 1,000 to 1,500, but it is only because of the increase in price, not because the quantity has been increased, the growth has increased. No, because of price. But in this case, you see price is constant on a base year, but the quantity has been increasing, and because the quantity is increasing, our GDP is increasing. Here we can say yes, there is a growth in the economy. So the real growth in the economy is measured only in the real GDP, not at the nominal GDP. I hope I am clear. Any question, children? If you can mute yourself, unmute yourself, please. Yes, children, any question? Hello, I'm waiting. Any questions? Any problem in understanding the difference between real and nominal GDP? Okay, thank you, Shishir. Now, Next is, can I wipe this out?
Yes, sir.
Okay, next is GDP deflator. GDP deflator. Write down. It refers to the ratio between GDP at current price and GDP at constant price. It measures the average level of the prices of all goods and services produced in the economy during an accounting year. It shows change in the GDP because of the change in price level. So GDP deflator is equal to nominal GDP upon real GDP into 100. This is how you find the GDP deflator. It is the ratio between GDP at the current price is nominal GDP, and GDP at constant price is the real GDP to 100. Next is GDP and welfare. GDP and welfare. Many a times a question comes, is GDP an index of welfare? Elaborate, explain all those factors. Now, write down, very often GDP is considered as an index of the welfare of the people, because an increase in GDP increases the level of welfare of the people. When real GDP rises, the flow of goods and services tend to rise. Other things remaining constant. What is the other things? Price. This means greater availability of goods per person, implying a high level of welfare. Okay. So this is the general feeling. If the GDP of a country increases, we believe that the welfare also is increases. Is this a true statement? It may not be true necessarily because of the following exceptions. This may not be true because of the following exceptions. Number one, distribution of GDP. What does this mean, distribution of GDP? Let's suppose we have two economies having the same GDP, A and B. Now here the GDP is shared equally, but here unequally. Which economy will be considered better? The one naturally where the GDP is shared equally among all in the economy. But what do we see? Many a times the distribution of GDP is not done equally. It is distributed very unequally. And so this may lead in inequalities of income. The rich become richer, the poor become poorer. And so this may lead to, in fact, a decline in the welfare, and this may lead to a decline in the welfare even though GDP has increased. So it is very important how the GDP is distributed in the economy. If it is equally distributed, it is a good economy, everyone's welfare increases. But if the GDP is distributed unequally, then what happens? There is what is called an imbalance, or there are inequalities in the income of the people in the economy. The rich become richer and the poor becomes poorer. So the first, why GDP cannot be said it is the exact figure of welfare. These are the exceptions. One, distribution. Number two is composition of GDP. Composition of GDP. What do you mean a composition? What is it made up of? Suppose in a particular year, more war goods like guns, explosive guns, bombs, etc. are produced. What will happen? Destruction will increase and welfare will reduce. Similarly, an increase in GDP may be purely due to an increase in the goods which are not socially desirable, such as drugs, etc. Now, this will surely not enhance the economic welfare. So, when we calculate the end GDP, what was the GDP made up of? What was the main contribution? Was it because of the more warlike goods, or was it because of the non-socially desirable goods, the drugs, which increase the GDP? It does not increase the welfare of the economy. So, what is the composition of the GDP is very important. Third, non-monetary exchanges. Non-monetary exchanges. Now, what is this non-monetary exchanges? Now, in economies like that of India, let's take India as an example. Barter system of exchange still prevails in the villages and sometimes in small towns. Right or wrong? Non-monetary transactions are quite evident, mostly in the rural areas, where payment is still made in kind rather than in cash. But such transactions are not recorded because they are outside the monetary system of the exchange. Okay, people are still exchanging in barter system in some of the villages, rural areas. Now, what about services of housewives? Doing kitchen gardening, leisure time activities. All these you cannot put a price on. But at the same time, because of these, the welfare increases, isn't it? The services done by a housewife, can you put a cost on that? No. When you prepare, have a small kitchen garden where you are growing your own crops, your own vegetables. You have a leisure time activity, hobby class, whatever you call it. Now these are not included in the GDP, but they increase the welfare of the society. So this is not a true reflection. The non-monetary exchanges are not included in the GDP. And lastly, externalities. Externalities. What is externalities? Externality means benefit or harm a firm or an individual causes to another for which it is not paid or penalized. For example, what could be the harm? Let's say we have set up a good factory in the city, producing goods, very good. What are the harmful effects of that factory? Pollution, air pollution, noise pollution, water pollution, due to which people are falling sick. Is that increasing the welfare of a economy? No. At the same time, let us take some benefits. Okay, we have a park where people can go, provided, can enjoy the fresh air, the scenic beauties. These are also adding the welfare of a person. When he wants to relax, he can walk in the park, he can take a walk in the park with him alone or with his friends and enjoy the health benefits of walking. So these are called externalities. It refers to either the benefits or the harm either for a firm or an individual causes to another for which it is not paid or it is not being penalized. Benefits, we are not paying for going to the park walking, we go free of charge, isn't it? Similarly, when anything is emitting smoke and waste, noise, are they penalized? No, it is not reflecting in the GDP. So we cannot say that it is what you call GDP and welfare is an absolute reflection of each other. No, these are some exceptions. We cannot say that GDP is a reflection of welfare in the economy. Now, please, we will stop till here. Tomorrow, we will do something more. Till then, we will stop here. Have a nice day. Stay safe, and we will meet tomorrow.